Hello everyone, my name is Ashley Leonard, and welcome back to another episode of the Love Doesn't Hurt podcast. This week, we are beginning a series of episodes on the podcast where I will be breaking down the Netflix miniseries Maid. This show was put out in 2021, but recently came up on my homepage as a recommendation, so I started watching without really knowing what it was about. I could immediately see similarities between both my life and what I've researched about domestic violence through the stories of others. After finishing the show, I knew I wanted to watch it again to analyze it for all the different kinds of abuse and the ways it's shown in the show and share it with you guys. We've gone over all of these different types of abuse in previous episodes, so if you need a refresh, go and check those out. I also wanted to share this show breakdown with you because it shows that you can make a better life for yourself after leaving abuse. You aren't trapped in the cycle forever, and you do deserve a better life than with an abusive partner. Maid depicts the harsh realities of leaving an abusive relationship as a single mother, but that it's possible to make a better life for yourself if you try. It will hook you in, it will make you laugh, make you cry, and empower you to create your own destiny. If you are able to, I highly recommend watching the show and then coming to the podcast for a breakdown of what's really going on and pointing out details you may have missed or dismissed while watching. If you don't want to watch the show, I know the episodes are like an hour long each. I get it. Just sit back, relax, and listen as I give a full rundown of the plot while pointing out different signs of abuse. I thought this would be a helpful way to point out red flags in relationships in one that's acted out, so you guys wouldn't miss these warning signs in your own life and are really able to understand the cycle that domestic violence creates. Just as a trigger warning, this show does depict an abusive relationship that may be triggering if you've experienced similar abuse, so proceed with caution or feel free to pass on this episode if that's not beneficial to your emotions, your healing, or your journey. And just as one more thing before we jump into the breakdown, I did want to mention that I updated the podcast art, so I hope you guys will like the new logo. And I'm also starting to add polls on the Spotify episodes of the podcast, so please go interact with those. Also, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, our new platform, and be sure to follow on whatever podcast platform you use. With that being said, let's get into the breakdown. So, Maid is a miniseries that was released on Netflix in 2021 and is based on the book Maid, Hard Work, Low Pay, and a Mother's Will to Survive, written by Stephanie Land. The book is based on her personal experiences leaving domestic violence, becoming a single mother, living off of government assistance, and working as a maid to make ends meet for her family. The show was nominated for many awards, including a Golden Globe nomination for Best Miniseries or Television Film. So, the first episode of Maid is called Dollar Store. The show opens as our main character, Alex, is awake in the middle of the night, watching her partner, Sean's, chest move up and down slowly as he breathes. She looks frightened as she gets up, grabs her daughter, Maddie, and leaves their home. As Alex drives away, her partner wakes up and begins yelling, asking where she's going and banging on the hood of her car in an attempt to prevent her from leaving. As Alex drives, Sean blows up her phone with texts, a sign of emotional abuse, and they escalate in their threatening nature as time goes on. The texts begin with things like, "Where are you going? It's not that big of a deal," and you're overreacting at this point in the episode. These texts are examples of gaslighting because, as we will find out later, Alex has a really good reason to be scared and feel the need to leave. Alex's first thought is to call her friends to see if she and her daughter can stay with them for the night, but they're also friends of her partner Sean. Caught up in the middle of this so-called fight, the friends called Sean when they knew Alex was on her way, so they could talk it out and, as the friends put it, hear the man out. It's common in relationships where one partner is abusive for mutual friends to not see the abuse happening or not understand that it could be happening because the couple puts on a sort of front in public like everything's perfect. So mutual friends often encourage the couple to work things out when the survivor leaves because they simply don't understand why they would leave. Oftentimes, these friends will feel forced to take one side or the other, or even become uncomfortable when they learn the truth about someone who's abusive because they previously thought they were a great person. This isn't something that, as a survivor, you should take as a personal attack. You are likely the only one who truly knows and saw the abuse in your relationship, and friends will need time to cope with this new news just as you have needed to over time. It may be beneficial to speak with a counselor that specializes in domestic violence recovery and how to approach these friendships and conversations, especially when they become difficult. Finding friends that have been through a similar relationship can be a great way to create support and begin to cope after leaving an abusive partner because they also understand what it means to be a survivor. Having a support network of your own friends is incredibly important when leaving abuse, so you have someone to empower you and someone to lean on when struggles arise, or to be there just when you need a shoulder to cry on. So, after an unsuccessful attempt to stay with friends, Alex finds a safe place to sleep in her car for the night and snuggles up with Maddie to get some rest as Sean continues to escalate the harassing texts and calls. Sean is gaslighting Alex with things like, "Why are you being crazy?" After only a few short hours of sleep, Alex is woken up and told that she needs to either move her car to a Walmart parking lot or go to social services, so she chooses the latter. As she sits with the social worker, Alex has hallucinations that she's being called trash for needing government assistance, when in reality, she's just being asked for paperwork. This shows that Alex believes the common idea that needing government assistance is a negative thing, when government assistance is really entitlement programs that are intended to help those who are truly in need. And this is done in hopes that these people receiving benefits will then be able to create a better life for themselves and, in many cases, for their children as well. As the social services case is created for Alex, she's asked if she and Maddie are homeless, to which she replies no. Alex doesn't believe she's homeless because she had a home and she chose to leave it. This is one scene that I found duly frustrating and heart-wrenching because I can completely understand the mindset Alex is in at this time because I was once there myself. While it may have technically been a choice for her to leave, it was for her and her daughter's safety, and without making this choice, they may not have made it out alive. So ultimately, was it really a choice? Not really. The scene at social services continues with Alex stating that she didn't file a police report about what happened the night she left because she didn't know what to say. Her partner didn't hit her or Maddie, but hit near them because he just drinks too much sometimes and blacks out. Alex does not have a job, so the social worker suggests she and Maddie stay at a domestic violence shelter until she can find one and then be put on the wait list for temporary housing. The social worker says this requires Alex to go on record about her abuse, but Alex doesn't think she's abused. The only other option is then a mission, but Alex refuses to bring her daughter there as it appears to have a reputation of being unsafe. Then, set up with a job at a maid service, Alex is unsure how she will work if she can't afford daycare, and daycare subsidies are only given to those who have proof of employment. This scene at social services shows how difficult it can be for those who are truly in need to get the services and assistance they require to create a better life. Unfortunately, this is a common experience and will only get better if we prioritize quality of life for all and make accessing government assistance easier for survivors when they need it most. In an effort to obtain and maintain her new job as a maid, Alex goes off to find her mother to watch Maddie, but her mother unfortunately struggles with her mental health and isn't the most reliable caregiver, so she's hoping to be back in a few hours after she's secured the job. The maid job only pays $12 an hour with a maximum of 6 hours of work per day in order to avoid injuries, so the company doesn't have to pay benefits. Alex also has $25 taken out of her first check for the uniform and must pay for her cleaning supplies and transportation to job sites, so she's not making very much. One thing that I really appreciate about this show is that oftentimes on the screen a count of money will be shown as Alex is trying to navigate affording life for her and her daughter, and can be seen as she's discussing her new job. This really highlights how financial abuse and manipulation can create almost a paranoia surrounding money, as the fear of not having any left is constantly at the forefront of your mind after surviving this kind of abuse. Alex must go to her first cleaning job immediately upon being hired, meaning her mom will be responsible for Maddie longer. Alex also loses service in the area of this job and ends up being 30 minutes late, which the customer does not appreciate, so she's adamant on rescheduling. But Alex pleads to do the job and insists it will be thorough in the time she has. So as she's cleaning, Alex finds this beautiful nursery and has a whole daydream sequence of being able to provide something like that for her daughter one day. And then she passes out. The homeowner, Regina, then finds Alex on the floor and shows her a bit of kindness by bringing her food upon learning that Alex hadn't eaten yet that day. They start talking as Alex recovers from her fall, and Regina disappointedly explains that she doesn't actually have children, but her husband believes that staging her home to have a nursery will help it sell. Regina then returns to her cold nature and instructs Alex not to forget to clean the lawn furniture. Once Alex leaves Regina's home, she finally gets service again and has many missed calls from her mother, who will then not answer the phone. Upon arriving to her mom's, Alex's mother then yells at her for leaving Maddie there because she has her own life to live, even though she seemed thrilled to take her a few hours prior, and that she's called Sean to pick up Maddie, despite the fact that Alex specifically told her not to do so when Maddie was dropped off. Unfortunately, Alex's mother also echoes the idea that Alex just needs to work things out with Sean, despite having her own cycle of relationship issues that we will learn more about in future episodes. Back at Sean's home, Maddie is asleep after being fed dinner, which Sean offers some to Alex. She sits to appease him as his tone is vaguely threatening, but refuses to eat as she has recurring flashbacks of having glass thrown at her the night she first left. Eventually, she defies Sean's wishes as she grabs more of their belongings to take with them as her and Maddie leave their home once again. As she's packing, Sean is yelling emotionally manipulative and abusive statements like, "Where are you going to go? I pay all the bills. I let you move into my house and eat my food. And I do everything for you. If you leave, you'll have no one." These statements may unfortunately have some truth to them, but because Sean manipulated life to be that way for Alex. Alex acknowledges the fact that life will be hard because these statements are true, but leaves anyway because she states that she won't pick glass out of her daughter's hair again. This is something that Alex had to do the night she decided to leave because Sean threw glass at Alex while Maddie was close by, and that's the exact moment Alex knew she needed a better life for her and her daughter. In the final scene sequence of the first episode, Alex is driving as her daughter is playing with a toy out of the car window. When Maddie drops the toy and starts screaming, Alex panics and pulls over into the meridian of the highway to retrieve the toy and then continue driving. As soon as Alex finds the toy, however, a young man swerves and crashes into the parked car with Maddie inside. Luckily, Maddie was okay, but Alex's car was totaled and she received a ticket for parking there. A large negative total of money is shown on the screen to convey Alex's stress from this incident and now being unable to afford transportation for her job. With seemingly no one else to call, Alex gets her dad to pick her and Maddie up and drop them off at the ferry station so she can get to work the next morning. On the way, Alex stops at the dollar store to get Maddie a new toy, just like the one that was lost in the accident. This takes all but a few cents of the money Alex has left, but shows that she is such a good mom and truly just wants a better life for her daughter, no matter how hard she has to work. So that is a summary and breakdown of episode 1 of Maid on Netflix. I was going to include a breakdown of episode 2 in this episode as well, but it's already getting pretty long, so I think I'm going to save it for the next episode of the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed the start of this new series and are looking forward to breaking down the rest of the show over the next few weeks. As always, it is my goal with the Love Doesn't Hurt podcast to create another resource people can use to understand their experiences, get help, and know they're not alone. If you need immediate help, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 or text START in all capital letters to 88788. You can also visit their website, thehotline.org, for more information. If you enjoyed this episode or learned something new, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a new episode. If you would like to support the podcast, I would really appreciate you giving it a 5-star rating wherever you listen. Also, just as a reminder, the podcast is now available on YouTube, Amazon Music, and Audible, so you can access it anywhere you prefer to listen to podcasts. Thank you for listening to the Love Doesn't Hurt podcast. I hope you all have a great day, and remember, spread love everywhere you go.